You're listening to Puma Podcast.
Hi, I'm Franco Luna, Puma Podcast. You're listening to Teka Teka News. In this episode,
Parang ganito yan eh. Paikot-ikot. Parang nag-post yung government ng statement na lumalalang drug menace. And then the media will reinforce that, i-re-quote, addict criminal. Yun yung narrative. And then, the public will comment, addict criminal ikulong. For the longest time, dito lang umiikot yung conversations. And that's worrying for a lot of us.
addict? Criminal? Let's talk about how we talk about people who use drugs.
Those words that we still see in tabloids, on paper, uttered by news reporters, mostly police beat, addict, drogista, drug abuser, drug user, those labels. Automatic labeling. Even without, conviction, even without evidence, even without facts, assumed yan na label. What else? Re-offender, recovered, clean, as if they're dirty, Pag hindi ka pa naka-recover.
That's attorney Tetay Mendoza. She's a lawyer and co-founder of Street Law PH. They work with people who use drugs, conducting paralegal and legal literacy training for communities, local officials, and individuals. And during the Drug Policy Reform Initiative on April 21, 2023, she opened up a dialogue with members of the press about the language they use in reporting drug cases.
And even if meron yung mga tao sa komunidad na mga positive stories na alam nila, people they know, members of their family, use drugs, people who are doing better in their lives, functioning, walang mga problema, walang harm to themselves and to others, they subscribe to these narratives. They set aside their personal knowledge and eat, chew, and regurgitate these narratives as facts.
O nga naman, may point din siya. Think about it, kapag narinig mo yung word na addict, ano ang unang pumapasok sa isip mo? You might think they're just words, but advocates say that when narratives and media coverage are widespread enough, they become deeply embedded in popular culture. Which is exactly the problem. It's now assumed, for example, na addict equals kriminal.
Only 2.05, according to DDB 2019. Only 2.05% of Filipinos use drugs. That's below world average. 5.6 yung global average, according to the UN World Drug Report. Use lang yan, ha? Only 11.6, according to the UNODC, will develop high-risk patterns of use, or so we call problematic user, who need intervention. 88% don't need intervention.
Advocates say drug-related killings continue kahit wala na si Duterte sa Malacanang. 263 drug-related suspects have been killed since Marcos came into power in July, according to the UP Third World Studies Center.
And that's worrying for a lot of us. Kasi baka maulit yung nangyari before. The violence, the intensity of what happened the past few years. Because it was popular. Because the people approve it. No question, no debate.
We're pausing for a quick break now. When we return, how does government policy shape our popular imaginations of drug users?
Teka, before we continue, singit lang ako. I'm Trisha Aquino, co-founder of Puma Podcast. I'm also the producer of Tokhang sa Tokhang Season 2. We are again and still taking stock of the war on drugs in the Philippines to understand where and how far it has taken Filipinos. We also want to ask where should it go, how much further, and in which direction. We are halfway through the season co-hosted by veteran journalist Robbie Alampay and Gideon Lasco, a medical doctor and medical anthropologist who's been studying drug use and drug policy since 2011. We hope to expand the conversation beyond Rodrigo Duterte, beyond the drug war, to include a broader look at drugs, our assumptions about the people who use them, and the roles they play in our culture, society, and our daily lives. Check out the first 5 episodes of Tokhang sa Tokhang Season 2. More episodes come out in May.
Mga pulis na nakamaskara, pumasok sa aming tahanan at kami tinutukan, pinaluhod at pinataan.
To the media, our longtime partners, we welcome critics as our independent source of check and balance. We are allies in bringing out the truth. We need your support to inform the public of our endeavors for peace and order. We will be transparent. I am soliciting the support of everyone, for I cannot do it alone.
That's the new PNP chief Benjamin Acorda at his change of command ceremony on April 24.
My stand on anti-illegal drugs is clear. No police should be involved with pushing, using, or whatever means of illegal drug trade. You will be charged and removed from the service. This is my warning to each and every one of you.
The incoming General Acorda is set to inherit a number of controversies hounding the police force. For example, the most recent leftover from the previous administration is the alleged cover-up of the 2022 arrest of a police officer linked to a 6.7 billion shabu haul in Manila. But he's also inheriting the Marcos administration's iteration of Duterte's deadly war on drugs.
Our fight will be holistic in prevention and aggressive in operations. Under my leadership, rewards and punishment will be quick and decisive. It shall be fair and impartial, and due process shall be observed.
So basically what we're doing here is we're trying to look at all the news and then put it in a map. Yan yung itsura ng map na yan.
That's data analyst Nick Tobia. Nandoon din siya sa Drug Policy Reform Initiative. He re-examined how we talk about drug use.
Amazingly, we're still talking about Duterte, even if we've already moved on to a new government, and how the ramifications of last government's policy continue on today.
Nick says though same pa rin ang narrative tungkol sa drugs under Marcos, may isa pang word na nadagdag.
One important aspect of this graph na nakita namin is that yung mga cabinet and other officials under Marcos, like si General Azurin, si Secretary Apalos, and others, they also talk about rehabilitation. They also talk about the health discourse. Pero kung si Marcos na ang pinakamalapit sa rehab, bakit pag mga lower officials papalayo na siya sa rehabilitation and health? Ang nangyari, ang rehabilitation and all other concepts of health, nasa laylayan lang siya. Hindi siya importante, hindi siya sentro ng discourse.
Data shows that some people in power, people in the news, are talking about drugs in relation to rehabilitation. That drug addiction is a health issue. Nandyan na ang narrative pero hindi pa umaabot sa precinct level or our popular culture. Example na lang, it's still common practice for the PNP to present its drug hauls and suspects to the media even before they're actually convicted. The police also include drug testing in the medical examination of arrested drug suspects kahit na ang Supreme Court na mismo nagsabi na unconstitutional ang mandatory drug testing on drug offenders. The point is that while it might be time for the media to re-examine its own practices in reporting drug stories, tayo mismo, lahat tayo, should rethink how we see people who use drugs. Kasi ang tinatawag natin na addict ay tao, period. Here's Attorney Tetay again.
Without evidence, without facts, without going into the lives of those people that you're already judging, reducing their entire identity. They have families, they have work, they contribute to society, but you reduce them into a certain identity which assumes criminality. That's our problem. Wala pang napapatunayan in anything. What is our problem with harmful language? Harmful language ultimately increases stigma on the individual, which reduces one's belief in their ability to change, as well as their motivation to ask for help.
And that was today's episode of Teka Teka News. Again, I'm Franco Luna. This episode was edited by Pidoy Blanco. Pakinggan nyo rin ang bagong episode ng Tokhang sa Tokhang hosted by Robbie Alampay and Gideon Lasco. We're on season 2 and we're looking at where the connotations behind the word addict come from in one of our latest episodes. Just search the weaponization of addict. Follow Teka Teka News and Puma Podcast on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube. Thanks for listening.